Hello everyone, Ismail is here. Today we're going to start a new module, module 7, and we're going to start the first lesson of this module, which is 7.1, connecting intercepts and zeros. Okay, you can find all the previous module and lessons on my website, www.alfaramath.com. Okay, now let us start with connecting intercepts and zeros. Okay, first of all, when a quadratic, okay, let's start from here. When a quadratic is in standard form, okay, which is this one here, y equal ax to the power of 2 plus bx plus c. Okay, we can find the vertex, okay, using this formula here. Number one, the axis of symmetry, okay, and x coordinate of vertex, we can found it using this formula here, which is x equal negative b over 2a. So what is this point exactly represent? Okay, just give you a fast example. So let's say we have this function here in vertex form, 2x minus 4 to the power of 2 plus just example 1. So when we need to graph this one, we say that h and k, which is the opposite h, same k, then when you graph it, using the coordinate, we know that 4 and 1, it should be what? It should be your vertex, okay, right? Which is, it should be your center. Is that correct? Yes. So the vertex or center, which is 4 and 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 2, 3, 4, and this one is 1. So the point should be here. So now, how can I identify this point? Because, this is in vertex form, okay? And if the question written in standard form, just an example, x squared plus 2x minus 3. This one is standard form. Now, how can I identify, okay, the vertex, which is this point here, the center, from the standard form with, okay, without finding h and k? So if you look now to the standard form, okay, and if you look to the vertex form, we can state that from the vertex form, this one is h, this one is k. We can write them and we can graph. Here, I don't have h, I don't have k, but I can know the vertex, okay, from the formula. The formula, what's the formula? X equal, okay, negative b over 2a. So do you remember that? What's a and b from the vertex? So this one is a, this one is b, and this one is c. So what's the number here? A is 1, okay. What's the number here? Here is b. So this one is a, this one is b, this one is c. So now if I need to substitute them, so it will be negative 2 over 2 times 1. So my answer should be negative 2 over 2, which is equal negative 1. So now, what is this x that I found? This x that I found, this one here is axis of symmetry. So now, where is negative 1 axis? This one here is negative 1. So my axis of symmetry is here. Now, I need to know where exactly the vertex of this function from the axis of symmetry. Okay, now let's go to this point 2, okay, to understand how can I find it. Now, to get the y coordinate of the vertex, plug that number in the equation. So now we found negative 1, right? Okay, so now use this negative 1, okay, to replace it in the x's here, then you can find y. Okay, so you can do that. Y is equal, okay, negative 1 to the power of 2 plus 2 times negative 1 minus 3. So you can find y, which is 1 plus, okay, 2 times negative 1, it's negative 2, okay, minus 3. So y is equal, 1 minus 2 is equal negative 1. Negative 1 plus negative 3 is negative 4. So now my answer is y negative 4, and I have the x is negative 1. Okay, so now I have x and y, which is x negative 1, y is negative, let's say negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So it should be here. So now this one is my vertex. Okay? So do you understand how can I find the vertex? Yes. So this is only two steps. We need to use them to find the vertex of the, let's say, my function, okay, using two formula. The first one is this one here. The second one, we take the points and we replace it in the standard form. Okay, let's take example here to understand more. Look here to this graph. So do you have this graph, which is 2, okay, and y equal, okay, let me write here, a graph y equal x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay, so we know that here is 1 and b is negative 4. So a is sorry, a is 1, negative 4 is B, negative 5 is C. Okay, so we can use the formula now, using the formula to find the axis of symmetry, which is negative. So now x equal negative B. So we have negative from the question itself, and B is negative 4. So I write negative 4B over 2 times A. A is 1, so 2 times A. So that's mean negative 4 with negative 4 over 2, which is equal 2. So now we have x equal 2. Now we need to block this x in the function here. We need to replace each x with 2, okay? So we need to replace each x with 2. So now y is equal 2 to the power of 2 minus 4 times 2 minus 5. So my final answer will be negative 9. So now I have 2 is x, y is negative 9. So this one is my vertex. So now let's plot the points 2 and negative 9. 2 and negative 9 should be here. Okay, so now this is my vertex. How can I know the other points? You can create the tables that we learned before. X, Y. Okay, create your tables. So 2 is X, negative 9 is the Y. Okay, pick 2 points less than 2, which is 1 and 0. Pick 2 points greater than 2, which is 3 and 4. Okay, and plot them in the function. So now each point you have to plot the points in the functions. Okay, so it will be x 1 time, let's do it mentally. Okay, so it will be 1 squared minus 4 times 1 minus 5. Okay, so 1 squared will be 1 minus 4, okay, minus 5. So minus 4 minus 5 minus 9 plus 1 minus 8. Okay, do the same thing with 0. So if you replace every x with 0, so you will get negative 5. So negative 8 here, negative 5 here. Now let's start graphing. So 1 negative 8, 1 negative 8 is here, then 3 negative 8, so 3 negative 8 is here, 0 negative 5, 0 negative 5 is here, 4 negative 5, also 4 negative 5 here. So you can now graph your functions, which is will look like this one here. So do you see now how we can graph using standard form? Okay, yes. So let's use another example to graph the standard form. Okay, now if you look to this function, it's not similar to standard form. Okay, how can I graph it without using standard form? Okay, first of all, we know that this one 2x squared minus 5 equal minus 3. Okay, now let's try solve this equation here, which means let's add 3 to both sides. Okay, so let's add 3 to both sides. Okay, so it will be 2x squared, okay, minus 2 equal 0. Okay, now you ask me, teacher, why you solve this function like that? Okay, I solved this function to make it look like, let's say, y equal maybe like a standard form plus bx plus c. Okay, or I need to solve it to make it like a vertex form, which is x minus h to the power of 2 minus, oh, sorry, plus k. So when you're solving the equation or the function, you need to solve it, okay, to look like rather than the vertex form or the standard form. Okay, which one do you need to convert your function to? First of all, here, to find the standard form, you should have three parts. You should have A, you should have B, you should have C. So if you have these three terms, so that means you can write it in standard form. Okay? Now, if you don't have, okay, B, okay, if you don't have B, which is you have only, let's say, ax squared plus c, okay, so that's mean this one is the vertex form. Okay, you told me, teacher, why this one is a vertex form? I know the vertex form is look like this. Okay, I will tell you why. Because, okay, let me write it like this. Let me say a, okay, times x, and let's say h is equal 0. So just an example, equal 0 plus, let's say k is equal c. Okay, let's go with equal. Now, how can I simplify this one? X minus 0 is equal what? X squared, right? A is equal x squared plus c. So now if you look here, now if I ask you what's h and k in this equation, so I don't have h, so h is equal what? 0. What's k here? K is c, which is the number here. So now my center or my vertex is 0 and c. I hope this one is understandable. You can understand this. Okay? Okay, let me just do it in a different way. Okay? Let me erase this. Okay, let me do it in different way. Okay, so now just always keep in your mind when you don't have this part, which is b, so that's mean it's remain ax squared plus c. So just keep it in your mind, ax squared plus c means, okay, h is 0, k is the c. Okay, always keep it in your mind. So what's h and k here? Okay, what's h and k? H is equal 0 because you don't have h, and k is equal c, which is this one here. Okay, now if look to this one here. If I ask you what's h and k in this equation, h and k in this equation, okay, so h, okay, and k, which is h here is equal 0. Okay, what's k here is negative 2. So now let's put my center on the graph. So 0 and negative 2 is here. Okay, so this one 0, negative 2. Now let's create the tables to graph my function xy. Okay, 0, negative 2, pick 2 points less than 0, negative 2, pick 2 points greater than 0, 1 and 2. Okay, now you can replace them in the function. Let me erase just this one for a second. Okay, so now I can write y is equal to x squared minus 2. Okay, and we know that it's h and k is 0, negative 2. Let me write it here. Okay, now let's replace each number, okay, each number in the x here. So let's do it mentally. 2 times negative 1 to the power of 2 minus 2. So 1, negative 1 to the power of 2, 1, 2 times 1. So negative 2 is equal 0. Okay, then we have here negative, let's replace negative 2, so negative 2 here, so it will be 2 times negative 2 to the power of 2 minus 2, negative 2 to the power of 2 equal 4, 4 times 2, 8, 8 minus 2, 6, so this one should be 0, this one should be 6, okay? Now, let's split the point, negative 1 and 0, so it should be here, and on the other side 1 and 0, so it should be here. Then we have 2, 6. So 2, 6 should be here. And negative 2 and 6. So it should be here. Now my graph will look like this one here. Okay. So now this one is the graph will look like if I don't have B. So always starting from now, if I don't have B, okay, so my function will be look like this. So H should be 0 and C represent the K. Okay, then you can create the tables. Okay, let's here are two different examples. You can try to solve them using the same idea. So first thing here, you can plus x squared, okay, plus x squared for both sides. So my function will be x squared plus 6x plus 8 equal 0. Okay, so now look to the form here. The formula, we have A, which is 1. We have B, we have C, right? So now I have A, I have B, I have C. Now use the formula, which is x equal negative B over 2A to find the axis of symmetry. Okay, So now let's substitute. B is negative 6 over 2 times A, which is 1. So negative 6 over 2 equal negative 3. So now my axis of symmetry is negative 3. So this one is my negative 3. So now I need to know at which point on this line, okay, should be the y-axis, okay? So now how can I know? So I take the negative 3 and I replace it in each x. I replace it in each x here, okay? So now if I replace it in each x, it will be negative 3 to the power of 2 plus 6, negative 3 plus 8. So now let's do this mentally. Negative 3 to the power of 2, 9, plus 6 times, 6 times negative 3 is negative 18, plus, sorry, plus 8. Okay? So now 9 plus 8 is equal 17. Minus 1 minus 18 is equal negative 1. Okay? So the answer is negative 1. So now this one is y. Okay? This one is x, which is x equal negative 3. So now I have the coordinate negative 3 and negative 1. So negative 3 is here, negative 1 is here. So now my coordinate should be here. Now you can create the tables. You can create the tables using this one, but I know how the tables will look like. This one should be here. This one should be 1, 2, 3, so it should be here. And this one also should be here. So my graph will look like this one here. Okay? Okay. Now let's do this question here. So we do the same thing. We plus 3, we plus 3. So now my function will be x squared minus 1 equal 0. Okay, now look to the function here. Do I have A? Yes, A is 1. Do I have B? No, I don't have B. So I don't have B. That means I can't use the formula of this one here. So now I can say that okay, from this one is the vertex form. So we can say that the vertex is 0 and negative 1 because h and k. Told you if we go back here, okay? Always if I have ax squared plus c, so always the vertex will be 0 and c. Okay? So always the vertex will be 0 and c, which is negative 1. Okay? Now let's plot these points on the graph. Okay, let me plot on the graph 0, negative 1, 0, negative 1. It should be here. Okay, now you can create the tables, okay, which is x and y to graph the function 0, negative 1. You pick 2 points less than, you pick 2 points greater than, okay, and if you do it on the in this one, you will get the first one, which is here. The second one should be here. The third, 2, 3, 4 here. And this one should be here. So, no, sorry, not here. And the other one should be here. So now your second function will look like this one here. Okay? I hope you understand this one. Okay, clear. Now, let's here there are two different questions. Try to solve them by yourself. Okay, and if you need any help, contact me. Now, let's go here. Solve by finding points of intersection of two related function. Okay, here the solving. Read the question again. Solve by finding points of intersection of two related function. So what's the two related function? Two related function, it's similar to the lesson of the absolute value. Okay, now solve this function to become like, okay, first, before we solve, do you remember when we have an absolute value like this? Let's say example, 2, okay, sorry again, let's say x minus 2, okay, equal, let's say 5. Do you remember when I told you that this side represent a function which is y1 and this side here represent a second function y2? Then we can graph, okay, then we can graph this one here, okay, and we put the line which is we have two solutions. Do you remember this? Yes, I hope you remember that. We can use the same thing for the parabola, okay, which means first of all this one is 0. We can't have 0 here, so I have to put a number which is represent like number 5 here. So how can I put the numbers here, replace 0? Okay, you have here -2, so do +2, +2 for both sides. So we cancel this 2, so my function it will be 2x minus 4 to the power of 2 equal what? Equal 2. Now, do I have two functions? Yes. So the first function here, it's this one. Okay, this one is y1. Okay, the second function here is y2, which is 2. Now let me write them here. Okay, let me change the color of the green, okay, and make it yellow to differentiate between the two function. Y2 is this, okay, like this. So now the green one, y1 is equal to x minus 4 to the power of 2, okay, and the second function y2 is equal 2. Okay, now let's graph the green one. So now, if I need to graph this one, we do the same step, identify h and k. So what's h and k here? What's h and k? H is -4, so it should be +4, the opposite. We don't have k, k is equal 0. So 4 and 0, so it should be here. Okay, now let's create the tables. Okay, let me create the tables, x and y. Okay, so let's put in the middle 4 and 0. Okay, like this. Pick 2 point less than 4, 3 and 2. Pick 2 point greater than 4, which is 5 and 6. Okay, now plot them in the function. Okay, let's plot each point. So let's plot 2 in the function here. So it will be 2 times 2 minus 4 to the power of 2. So 2 minus 4 is equal -2 to the power of 2 times 2. So -2 to the power of 2 equal 4. 4 times 2, sorry, 4, okay. 4 times 2 is equal 8. So this one should be 8. Let's plot now 3. Same thing. Let's plot 3 here. So it will be 3 minus 4 is equal -1. -1 to the power of 2, 1. 1 times 2 is equal 2. So this one should be 2. This one should be 8. Now let's graph the coordinate. 3 and 2. 3 and 2 should be here. And 4, which is 5 and 2. So it should be here. And then 2 and 8, okay, here, 6 and 8 here. Okay, now graph your function. It should look like this. Graph your function. It should look like this. Okay, let me do it more accurate. Okay, so it should look like this one here. Okay, now after I finished graph y1, now let's graph y2. Y2 means we are talking about y. Y is equal what? 2. So where is y? We know that this is the y-axis. Okay, so y is equal to, which is this point here. So now plot a line on the y2 here. Okay, so now this one is y2. Now, if I ask you what's the two solutions that we have, or what is the two intersect that we have? So the first intersect is here. So this one represents the number 3 and 2. So 3 and 2. And what's the intersect here that we have here? It's 5 and 2. So 5 and 2. Now, if I ask you what's the intersection, which is x's, so the first x is equal to 3, the second x is equal 5. So now these are my answer, these are my intersect. Okay, I hope this is clear. Let's take one more example. Okay, do the same step. So first step, we need to add a 12 for both sides. So add 12, add 12. So we have 3x minus 5 square equal 12. Okay, now we have two functions. The first function in the blue one, which is this one here. So this one is y1. So y1 is equal 3x minus 5 to the power of 2. Okay, and we have here y2. So y2 is equal 12. y2 is equal 12. Now let's graph the y1. Okay, so to graph the y1, we have to step h and k and make table. H and k here. Okay, so h is equal -5, which is +5 opposite sign. K is equal 0. Okay, now let's make the tables x, y. Okay, so 5 is here. zeros here. So pick 2 point less than 5, which is 4 and 3. Pick 2 point greater than 5, which is 6 and 7. Okay, now replace them in the function. So we take 4, we replace it here in the function. So we will have 3 times 4 minus 5 to the power of 2. Okay, so now 4 minus 5, which is negative 1 to the power of 2, and negative 1 to the power of 2 equal 1 times 3 is equal 3. Okay, now let's take the 3 here and replace it with the x. So now 3, okay, 3 minus 5 is equal negative 2. Negative 2 to the power of 2 equal 4. 4 times the 3 is equal 12. Okay, so now let's write here 3, let's write here 12. Now let's plot the points in the blue color, 5 and 0. 5, okay, so this is 1, this is a 3, this is 5. Okay, so 5 and 0, so it should be here, because this one is 5. Okay, then we have 4 and 3. X is 4, and here this is 1, this is 3, this is 5, this is 7, this is 9, this is 11, this one is 30. This is 1, this is 2. Okay, that's not 2, 3. 3, 5, and 6. Here is 7. Okay, now let's put the points. So the first one, 5 and 0. Then we have 4 and 3. 4 and 3, so it should be here. Then we have 6 and 3. 6 and 3, so it should be here. Then we have 3 and 12. 3 and 12, so it should be here. Then we have 7 and 12, so it should be here. So now graph your points. So it should look like this one. Okay. Now let's graph the y2, which is equal to 12. Okay. y2 equal to 12. Now y, which is y-axis, and equal to 12. So now let's graph my line. So my line should be like this. Okay. Now my line should be go like this one here. Okay. So now the first point. Oh, sorry. Let's graph it again. So this one is my line. Okay. So this one is y equal 12. Okay. Now let's take the points that I have them. 2 points intersect. So the first point is here. So this one is x, which is 3 and 12. 3 and 12. And this one here is 7, okay, and 12. So this point here is 7 and 12. So now my two solutions are the x's. So the first x is equal to 3, and the second x is equal 7. So now those are my x's, which is this one here and this one here. I hope you understand this one. Here are also another examples, but I don't need to solve them to make the lecture too long. Okay, here are some examples. You can solve them, and if you need any help, just contact me. Just to do a fast recap, to solve by graphing and finding the zeros. Okay, so first we have to x squared for both sides. We can use this one, and we have a, we have b, we have c, so we use the axis of symmetry. Then we -3, we sort of replace it with a function to get -1. Okay, so now my zeros is x equal -4, x is -2. Okay, and another, let's solve finding points of intersect. To find point of intersect, we do the same thing we did now, which is we create plus 12 for both sides. So we graph y1, we graph y2. Okay, and the graph will look like this one. Okay, I hope this is clear. I hope you understand the lessons. Have a good day, and bye bye.